Emily Parker had never imagined that one simple Friday evening could shift the ground beneath her feet. All day she felt a strange restlessness, something she could not name. A quiet ache that lived somewhere between her heart and her thoughts. She loved her husband, Daniel, deeply. But the past year had rolled by in a blur of routine's work, errands, tired dinners, rushed conversations. Their marriage was stable, calm, and safe. Yet the warmth, the spark, the feeling of being truly seen had slowly faded without either of them noticing. And now, for reasons she didn't fully understand. She felt hungry for attention, not inappropriate attention. Not anything crossing a line, just the simple feeling of being noticed and appreciated again. That evening, Daniel had invited his 3 closest friends over to watch a big championship game. Mark, Jason, and Adam had been in his life long before Emily entered the picture. And over the years they had grown close to her too. She liked them. They were respectful, supportive. The kind of friends who cheered for everyone around them. Usually she didn't bother getting dressed up for these casual game nights. But today she wanted to feel a little different, lighter, brighter, more alive. She chose a simple but flattering outfit, brushed her hair with extra care, and added a soft touch of makeup. Not for anyone specific, just for herself. And maybe a tiny bit for the hope of being seen again. When she walked into the living room carrying a tray of snacks, she did not expect the sudden quiet. The guys stopped talking mid-sentence. She saw their eyes widened, not with anything improper, but with genuine surprise and admiration. It had been a long time since Emily felt a reaction like that. It made her heart skip once, then settle in too. A warm, modest glow. Mark was the first to speak, grinning. "Emily, you look incredible tonight. You didn't need to go all out for us." His tone was friendly, sincere. Jason added with a laugh, "Daniel, man, you're lucky. Seriously?" Adam nodded approvingly, as if she had just made the night more special without even trying. Emily felt heat rise to her cheeks. She smiled, trying to make it seem casual. "You guys are sweet. I just wanted to bring you some snacks." Daniel laughed along with his friends. But something in his expression flickered, something like pride mixed with uncertainty. Emily noticed it instantly, though she didn't understand it yet. She just knew the energy in the room had shifted, and she felt strangely aware of herself in a way she hadn't in months. The men went back to their conversation, and Emily placed the tray on the table. She started to walk away, but she caught something odd out of the corner of her eye. Daniel leaning in, whispering something to Mark. Whatever he said made all 3 friends look at her again, softly, curiously, almost protectively. A small knot formed in Emily's stomach. Not fear, not discomfort, just confusion. What had Daniel told them? Why did they suddenly look as if there was something unsaid hanging between them? She walked toward the kitchen to refill some drinks and calm her thoughts, but her mind kept circling back to the look on their faces. It wasn't inappropriate. It wasn't disrespectful. It was simply attention. Something she had quietly missed for a long time. As she poured soda into glasses, her hands trembled slightly. She felt guilty for enjoying the admiration. She felt guilty for wanting it. But she also felt alive, in a way she hadn't felt in so long. Emily leaned against the counter, took a slow breath, and tried to steady her emotions. She wasn't unhappy in her marriage, not at all. She simply wanted more connection, affection, more presence. It's a kind of feeling that used to come effortlessly, before life's responsibilities grew bigger than their romantic gestures. Footsteps approached from behind. She turned, expecting one of the friends, but it was Daniel. His eyes scanned her face, searching for something. "Hey," he said quietly. "Everything okay?" Emily nodded, though she wasn't sure why her heart felt so heavy and full at the same time. "Yeah, just tired. It's been a long week." Daniel stepped closer, but something held him back, as if he wanted to say something but couldn't figure out how. "You look beautiful tonight," he said gently. "I hope you know that. For the first time in months, the words felt real. But before she could reply, the guys called Daniel back to the living room, and as he walked away, Emily stood there with a swirl of emotions she couldn't ignore anymore. Something had changed tonight. She wasn't sure what. She wasn't sure why. She only knew that her heart had started beating louder than before, and the night was far from over. Emily moved through the kitchen quietly, her hands busy with glasses, but her mind swirling with thoughts she hadn't expected. The laughter and chatter of the guys in the living room floated through the air, but her attention was caught by a soft murmur of voices that seemed closer than it should be. She wasn't eavesdropping on purpose. She simply paused, noticing her name. Her heart skipped. Daniel's voice was low but clear. "Guys, she's been feeling unseen lately. I don't know how to fix it." Emily froze. She hadn't realized Daniel had spoken about her feelings. And hearing it aloud made a strange ache and warmth rise at the same time. She leaned against the counter unnoticed. Mark's voice joined in. Gentle, sincere, unseen. "Daniel, she's incredible. Anyone can see that." Jason added softly. "Tonight, she seems brighter, happier. Maybe it's because she feels noticed." Emily's chest tightened. She wasn't embarrassed. She wasn't ashamed. She was touched. It wasn't flirtation or anything inappropriate. It was recognition, pure and honest. 4 months she had felt invisible, tucked into routines and responsibilities, her own needs slipping quietly into the background. But now she realized that someone had noticed, truly noticed. And not just Daniel, his friends saw her too, not in a teasing or shallow way, but with respect, admiration, and warmth. Her heart swelled with emotions she hadn't dared name. Relief, longing, hope, a soft ache for closeness, and an unexpected flutter of pride. She realized she missed being seen, not just for her appearance, though their kind words made her smile, but for her essence, her presence, her quiet light that had dimmed under years of routine. Emily closed her eyes for a moment and let the emotions wash over her. She felt a deep, almost trembling desire to be cherished again by Daniel, to feel his eyes soft with admiration, to experience the small but profound moments of connection they had shared in their early years. She realized it wasn't the attention of his friends she craved. It wasn't their admiration she needed. She wanted Daniel's gaze, his pride, his love, and yet, for the first time in a long time, she also acknowledged a truth she hadn't dared admit. She wished quietly that he would show her off a little. Not for vanity, not for pride, but so that she could feel seen, celebrated, and valued in a world that often overlooked the quiet gestures of love. Emily leaned back against the counter, her mind racing. Was it selfish to want this? Did it matter that the attention came from her husband's friends? No, it wasn't about them. It was about her heart, and about Daniel rediscovering what he already had. A wife he loved deeply, who needed to feel his love in ways beyond routine. She took a slow breath as Daniel appeared in the doorway. His expression was tender, concerned, almost hesitant. Are you okay?" Emily opened her eyes and forced a small, calm smile. "Yeah, just thinking." He walked closer, and for a moment, there was silence, a pause that felt heavier than any noise in the room. Emily felt her pulse quicken. She wanted to speak, to say something, but the words felt fragile. She could sense that Daniel wanted to connect, to understand, to bridge the invisible distance that had grown between them. Finally, she spoke softly. "Daniel, I think we need to talk." His eyes widened slightly, the concern deepening. "About what?" he asked cautiously. Emily swallowed. "About us. About being seen, feeling loved, feeling noticed. I know you care, but I haven't. Felt it lately, not fully. I know life gets busy. I know work. Everything. But I want us to find that again." Daniel nodded slowly. His hands tightened briefly, as if he wanted to reach out and pull her close, but he held back, giving her space. "I've noticed it too," he admitted quietly. "I've felt us drift, and I didn't realize how much it affected you. I've been working so hard that I forgot to be present, to really see you." Emily's chest ached with a mixture of relief and longing. She wanted to tell him how the attention from his friends had touched her, how it had reminded her of her own worth. But she held back, sensing that Daniel needed this moment to be about him, about reconnecting, about choosing her again without distractions. She reached for his hand lightly. I want to feel close to you again. I want to feel special, Daniel. Not for anyone else, just for us." Daniel's eyes softened. He took a deep breath and nodded. "I understand. And tonight, I want to fix that. I want you to feel seen, truly seen." By me, Emily felt a small, hopeful smile tug at her lips. She didn't need grand gestures or words anymore. She needed the quiet reassurance that they could find each other again, that they could reconnect, emotionally, deeply, without anything inappropriate, without anything crossing a line. And as she walked back toward the living room, Daniel beside her, she realized something important. Tonight might not just be about a game. Tonight might be about rediscovering the heart of their marriage, about learning to look at each other again, and about understanding that sometimes love needed to be reminded of itself. Emily followed Daniel into the bedroom, her heart beating faster than she expected. The soft glow of the bedside lamp cast gentle shadows across the room, giving the space an intimate yet safe feeling. It was quiet now, far away from the laughter and chatter of the living room, yet Emily could feel the echoes of the night still lingering in the corners of her mind. Every step she took seemed heavier, more meaningful, because she knew this conversation could shift something in their marriage. Something that had quietly been slipping away over the months. Daniel sat on the edge of the bed, rubbing his hands together, clearly nervous. Emily perched on the opposite side, unsure where to start but feeling the urgency to speak. "Daniel, I need to be honest," she said softly. "Tonight I realized something. I realized I've been craving attention, not from anyone else, but from you. I want to feel noticed again. I want to feel special, loved." Daniel exhaled a mixture of relief and tension in his breath. "Emily, I didn't realize how far we had drifted. I've been busy, distracted, thinking I was doing the right things. But I didn't see that I was letting us fade into routine. And tonight, when I saw how the guys were looking at you, it hit me. I felt jealous, scared even, because I realized I hadn't been showing you what I felt for years." Emily's chest tightened. His words were exactly what she needed to hear, yet they came with a bittersweet sting. For months, she had tried to hide her longing, to pretend she was content. But tonight, she didn't have to hide anything. She could feel the vulnerability between them, the raw honesty that neither of them had shared in years. I want to feel that closeness again," Emily whispered. "I want us to see each other, really see each other, without the distractions of work, life, or routines. I want us to feel the way we did when we first met." Daniel's eyes softened. He reached for her hand, their fingers interlacing naturally. "Emily, I want that too. I don't want us to just exist side by side. I want to admire you, to cherish you, to make sure you feel loved every single day. And tonight, I want to start fixing that. I want to show you that I see you the way I used to. It's the way I should." Her heart swelled, a warmth spreading from her chest down to her fingertips. She realized that this moment wasn't about proving anything to anyone else, not about his friends, not about pride. It was about them, about their connection, about rediscovering the love that had quietly become buried under responsibilities and routines. Daniel stood and gently pulled her closer. "Come back to the living room with me," he said softly, a hint of a smile on his face. "I want them to see what I see. I want you to feel proud of us together." Emily blinked, surprised, She hadn't expected him to involve the friends, yet the way he said it felt sincere, celebratory, and safe. It wasn't about showing off. It was about acknowledgments showing her that he valued her, that he loved her, that he wanted her to feel admired in the way that mattered most. Through his eyes, before she could respond, a gentle knock came at the door. "Everything okay?" Mark's voice called from outside. Careful, supportive. Daniel gave her a reassuring look. "Yeah, everything's fine. Just stay with me," he said, squeezing her hand. Emily nodded. Her emotions a mixture of relief, anticipation, and a fluttering joy. She realized how much she had missed this being seen, being heard, being loved fully. She understood now that her wish earlier, the subtle longing she hadn't voiced, wasn't about attention from others, was about being cherished by Daniel, about feeling that spark again, about reconnecting with the man she loved most. As they returned to the living room together, the group fell silent. The friends sensed something had changed, but they didn't know what. Emily walked confidently beside Daniel, feeling the warmth of his hand holding hers, the gentle protection in his presence. Daniel spoke softly so the friends could hear. "This is Emily, the woman I love, the woman I should have been showing more appreciation for. She's incredible, and I want to make sure she knows how much I value her." The friends nodded, smiling warmly. Nothing inappropriate, nothing uncomfortable. Just support, understanding, and admiration. Emily felt her heart swell with a sense of security, pride, and emotional fulfillment. She wasn't seeking attention from them. She was basking in the knowledge that Daniel was finally noticing her again, truly seeing her. She leaned slightly against him, whispering, "Thank you for seeing me again." Daniel kissed her forehead tenderly. No grand gestures, no dramatics, just simple, honest love. In that moment, Emily realized something powerful. Her wish wasn't about anyone else. It was about reconnecting with Daniel, about reclaiming the closeness they had lost, about feeling cherished again by the one who mattered most. Tonight wasn't just about a game or friends. Tonight was about them rediscovering each other, about love, respect, and admiration returning to the center of their marriage. Emily felt a surge of hope. For the first time in months, she felt visible, valued, and truly loved. Far from over, but in that moment, she knew they had taken the first real step back to each other. Emily followed Daniel back into the living room, her heart still fluttering from their private conversation. The room felt different now, not because anything had changed physically, but because the energy between them had shifted. She walked beside him, feeling his hand gently holding hers. A small anchor of reassurance in a world that often pulled them apart. The laughter and chatter of the guys paused as they noticed the couple return, and for a moment, the entire room felt charged with quiet anticipation. Daniel led Emily to the sofa and gestured for her to sit beside him. He glanced around at his friends, who now looked at her with warmth and understanding. There was no awkwardness, no judgment, only a shared recognition that something had changed between the couple. Emily took a deep breath, realizing that tonight wasn't about showing off or seeking approval. It was about connection, love, and being truly seen for the first time in months. Daniel's voice was soft but steady as he addressed both Emily and his friends. "She's the most important person in my life, and I haven't always shown it. Tonight, I want her to know how much I admire her, how much I value her." Emily felt a warmth rise in her chest. The words weren't dramatic or overblown. They weren't meant to impress anyone else. They were genuine, heartfelt, and meant only for her. For a long time, she had thought that love was quiet, routine, and easy to take for granted. But tonight, she realized that love could also be bold in its gentleness, showing itself through acknowledgement, care, and attention. Mark smiled, breaking the momentary silence. "Emily, you light up the room. Daniel's right, he's lucky, but so are you. You both deserve this happiness." Jason nodded. "It's nice to see you both like this. We're glad you're taking the time to reconnect." Added, sometimes people forget the little things that make love strong. But it's clear you two are finding your way back. It's all that matters. Emily felt tears prick the corners of her eyes, not from sadness, but from a deep sense of relief and joy. She realized that her longing earlier, the subtle wish to feel noticed, wasn't selfish, it wasn't wrong, it was human. Everyone needed to feel valued, cherished, and loved. And tonight she finally felt all of those things from the person who mattered most, Daniel. She leaned slightly against him, feeling his steady presence. "Daniel, thank you," she whispered, her voice trembling just enough to show the depth of her emotions. "Thank you for seeing me again, for really seeing me." Daniel's hand brushed her hair gently from her face. "I should have done this sooner. I should have reminded you every day that you're everything to me. But I will start now, I promise." Emily smiled, a small, radiant curve of lips that reflected a mixture of relief, pride, and renewed love. She understood now that admiration wasn't about others noticing her. It was about the person she loved noticing her, choosing her, celebrating her presence in a quiet, sincere way. The friends returned to their seats, sensing that this was no longer their moment. They were supportive witnesses rather than participants, and Emily appreciated their presence. It reminded her that healthy friendships could exist around love without crossing boundaries, without causing discomfort, just gentle encouragement and respect. The room slowly filled with the soft sounds of laughter again. But this time, Emily felt lighter, freer, and more confident. She realized that reconnecting with Daniel didn't require grand gestures or dramatic declarations. It required honesty, vulnerability, and the courage to admit that she wanted to feel close, admired, and valued. Daniel whispered to her, "Tonight isn't about them. It's about us. And I want you to feel that every day." Emily nodded, feeling a deep surge of emotion. "I do. I feel it. And it feels like coming home." The night moved on, the game continuing in the background, but Emily's focus was entirely on Daniel. Each small gesture, each glance, each shared smile reinforced the renewed connection between them. She understood that love wasn't just about routine or comfort. It was about noticing, appreciating, and celebrating each other, even in small, everyday moments. As the evening wound down, Emily felt a quiet sense of triumph and peace. The longing she had felt, the wish she hadn't spoken aloud, had been fulfilled not through attention from anyone else, but through the reconnection with the person who mattered most. Daniel had seen her,